Welcome to another episode of the Low Budget Photographer. My name is Moo. Now, this episode is going to be focusing on the camera body. Now, the unfortunate thing about photography is how expensive it is for a photographer to actually get equipment. Now, I've never been a fan of talking about camera bodies because every time a new one comes out, they'll say this is the entry level camera body for photographers. And then, for example, let's look at the Canon R10. Apparently, the Canon R10 is great for a beginner, but the price of the Canon R10 is 22,000 Rand. Where the hell are we supposed to get 22,000 Rand if you're beginning in photography? That is a ridiculous price. So what we're going to focus on is the low budget entry point of cameras. A lot of these, the two I'm going to talk about are very old, but they can do the job. The first one I'm going to talk about is the Rebel, which is what they call it over across the sea, but we call it the Canon 800D. Now it's got a nice body actually. You can grip it quite well. There's 24 megapixels inside here, 6 frames, continuous shooting. Very small number, but we were starting off in photography. We're low budget. We'll make it work. One of those frames will be amazing. For example, if we're going to go take pictures of sports, I do not recommend this because everything moves so quickly. But if you can make it work, you can make it work. And I know photographers who can. If you want to take some videos with this, it goes up to 1080p. That is not a bad thing because a lot of TVs come in standard definition. So it is 1080p. A lot of the videos that people watch on YouTube are 1080p. For example, I'm shooting this in 1080p. There's no need for me to shoot it in 4K, even though the camera does have that capability because we watch this on our phones. We watch stuff that will be on Instagram or TikTok. This camera will be great for that type of work. It also has 45 cross type autofocus points. So the autofocus is very good on it as well. You get raw images as well, and it has the flip screen that every vlogger likes. So if you're taking a video of yourself, you can see yourself directly in the on the screen as well. Now let's talk about a different type of camera, which is the one I'm actually shooting here. So I have to switch cameras real quick. Okay, I've switched cameras, and one thing I forgot to mention was the price of the 800D. Now it ranges around about 8 to 9,000 Rand. I did say these things were expensive, but it is way cheaper than the 22,000 Rand of the R10, for example. And you can get it pre-owned as well. If it's pre-owned, you can negotiate the price down. You can find yourself walking away with a decent camera for around 3 to 4,000 Rand. Now let's talk about a camera that I've used for a lot of shoots as well. A lot of the images you'll see on F2 Photography on our Instagram and TikTok page and Twitter as well were taken by this camera, the Canon 250D. It's a very light, very small camera, so you have to be very careful when you're holding this because you could break it. But I love how compact it is for a DSLR. It is 24 megapixels, just like the 800D, but you can get two more images when it comes to the continuous shooting. So 8 frames per second continuous shooting. The video quality of this camera is quite good because you can put it pushes up to 4K, but it is 4K cropped. So that means when you switch from 1080p to 4K, the image will automatically zoom in. So make sure you're using a wider angle if you want to shoot 4K with this. And as I've said, you can get up to 1080p as well, 50 frames per second and 25 frames per second. So you can get good quality slow motion video with this camera as well. And what I love a lot about this camera, as I said, is how compact it is. It's not heavy. When you're out here shooting events, it actually looks nice. It looks sleek. It's not shiny, but it does have a plastic finish to it. Now, I've actually worked, I can't remember how many I've done, but it's been a lot. I've had it for a couple of years now, and it's held on for a good while. And it feels brand new, it looks brand new, and that's why we're lucky in this day and age that the lower end of cameras holds up in terms of image quality as the high end cameras have as well. Now, I'm not saying we should all focus on the low end. If you have the money, go buy something high end because it actually helps you work faster. But when you have something like this, for example, it helps you become more creative because you get to learn the camera, you get to learn what it can and what it cannot do, and you're less dependent on what the camera can do, and you start using your brain, and you'll find yourself creating things you never thought you'd be able to do. So if you've got the 8K with you, or you want to negotiate something with someone, you could get this camera, right? Or you could get the 800D, and you could work a lot of jobs with them, and they'll last you a very long time. I think the 800D is my brother's camera. He's had it longer than I've had this one. I think I've had this for 2 years, and he's had that for, no, this might be 3 years now. I've had this for a while. 3 years, and he's had that for 4 to 5 years. So these are very good cameras, and some of the images I've taken previously were with a Canon 70D. They still hold up to this very day. It doesn't look like I took it with a very old camera at all. So we don't have to get the high end. We can all focus on getting something very affordable, and we can get some good images, we can get some good videos as well. And just like the 800D, this is great for vlogging as well. It has a camera with the tilted screen, and since we have 4K, if we want, we can shoot it in 4K. Uh, the 4K's image is great. It's easy to color grade as well, and you can end up watching it on HD TVs or these smart TVs that people have these days. But I hardly use the 4K on this camera because I don't have to. We all don't have to really. We can just shoot in 1080p and then export it in 4K if you want to. Because the 4K also takes up a lot of storage on your SD card, and this only fits in one SD card, which might be a negative if you are like a pro cameraman or pro photographer, because sometimes if you have those cameras that come with two SD cards, one can basically be a backup while you're taking the images. So two of the cards will be written at the same time and they'll have the same images. But where we are right now, where I am right now, I'm okay with just the one SD card. I've survived off it. I haven't had any issues with the camera as well. And the writing speed on the SD card has been great for me. And I can just walk around with the 64 gig memory card. I don't need to go higher, but make sure you have some backup. The battery lasts quite a while for something that has a very small battery. It's tiny, but it can last you video wise. You can shoot a video for an hour and a half. Unfortunately, it's not unlimited recording. It cuts off at 29 minutes and 59 seconds. But you can just press play again, it's fine. And you can end up with like an hour and a half of footage if you want to before you have to charge or change batteries. It's pretty important to have an extra battery, or make sure you're charging your battery in between. And when it comes to photo shoots, it can last you hours of just taking pictures. Um, I've gone 5 hours just off one single battery at an event. It's great. It lasts a long time. That's why I'm saying we can use these lower end cameras to actually help us in our photography journey. We don't have to break the bank and go for the major ones unless we have the money. If you have the money, I'm not discouraging you. Go for it. Those cameras are good. They will last you a long time. They're amazing. They have some qualities that these low end cameras do not have. But what I'm saying is these work. Like you can even put a microphone inside here. You don't have to use the onboard microphone that's in these cameras, even though they're okay, but it'll sound like you're at an ocean. So just get a microphone and put it on, and you'll be fine. So thank you for watching another episode of The Low Budget Photographer. Today was just a rant from my part, nothing special, but hopefully we'll see each other again.